Nighthawks is probably one of the most famous American paintings in history. And as you look at Nighthawks, you begin to see how the characters are placed and the genius behind what Hopper was doing, which is letting you come up with a story behind the painting. And so it was important to look at it, and as we transform that into a program, acknowledge the fact that this is an American story. This is a very American story. These characters, who they are, New York City, the energy of that, and their interaction with each other, and the time frame that it happens in. We had to establish where this story was going to take place, first and foremost. Imagine yourself in New York City. You're in the taxi cab, the door opens, and immediately, right into the heart of New York City, we're placed, and we're off and running in a show that then we're going to see the hustle and bustle, the different people, the different activity, the energy, the electricity, and those characters begin to evolve out of that energy. There are 4 characters in the Hopper painting, and each one appears to have their own unique personality, unique history, and unique story. And it was important to look at their relationships to each other at the same time. We go through the process of discovering characters and how they are in the program and how their personalities and relationships develop during the program. The story will constantly be developing in Dreams and Nighthawks. It's important to layer after layer after layer, just like a program, that the story, we peel it back, you know, like an onion, and we find so many hidden gems within the story. I'm looking forward to seeing how the characters develop throughout the season and how the story develops, because the characters have a life of their own, just like any show. A drum corps show is a living, breathing, very heartfelt life force. And just like that, the characters have to discover their way, and we discover that with them. Well, the conclusion of the show would be all the characters arriving in the diner at the same time, and what we're going to discover through the course of the summer is why. This year, the costuming plays 2 very distinctive roles in the program. First, it has to be a portion of where we are in time, which is the 40s, and how we're moving through these characters' life, which was, we're considering 1942 from our modern perspective. Then the costume shifts to become more of an abstract thought of the paintbrush and the painting itself. And as the show builds and comes together and assembles right before your eyes, you will see the core transform from what's very character-driven looks into a more abstract fantasy feel of what the paintbrush is like, and the emotion and the color and the wonder of the paintbrush. Just like a movie, the characters have a very distinctive musical melody or tone or feel or emotion that hopefully, just like a conversation, goes back and forth all the way through the show. When one character interacts with another character, hopefully their music is coming together to have that musical conversation. There has been and will continue to be, with what we do with the Blue Devils, a very cinematic feel to it. Because of the size and the scope, and then also the intimacy that can happen within a single moment or a sound. Those are very cinematic descriptives, but also very, you could think of live theater with what we're doing also. It has a very distinctive flavor of what live theater brings to you as a viewer, interpret the story and engage in it. It's important to remember that New York City is an international city, and it was one thing I was very, very determined to showcase in the show, is that there's an international and a global feel to New York City. And it was a very world-aware time in 1942 and World War II. The entire world was aware of what was going on. So to have the influence of other cultures and other voices into the show was very, very important. The show is definitely puzzle pieces being put together, whether it's the puzzle pieces that are the deconstructed set, the diner that's in the painting, or the deconstructed story that you watch unfold and come together, or pieces of the music that you're hearing and they come together at certain moments in the program.